So you have to just have the courage to be yourself. And I think we always have such fear inside of us to be our authentic selves because we, especially as women, we don't want to be judged. We're not sure if we can handle the criticism and one more thing on our shoulders if people don't accept us.
Right.
And the power of your feminine, of your full vagine comes from when you embrace your vagine. You know what I mean? It's like when you embrace your feminine and you just say, you know what, I am just going to be myself. I'm going to be all of myself. I'm all the kooky, weird, crazy, fun, awesomeness of who I am. And I don't need you to accept me for me to be whole. Now,
we go. Now,
hello.
good
Welcome,
afternoon,
everyone.
good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the Full Vagine.
Yes, where nothing is too taboo to talk about.
Yep. Unfiltered conversations about all things womanhood.
Yes.
And we are so excited today to have the lovely Kara Bunde-Dunn on.
Yay.
Hello, you listeners.
She's a huge part of I would say my well-being SWAT team. I was like, and the older I get, the more things that I have in place. I'm like, I do weights, I eat protein, I have a medium, I have hormones, I have a therapist, I have a coach, I have my best friends, and then I run sometimes and I drink wine. And it's like now, like I have to have two hands to like count all the things that keep me sane.
That is the full vagine right there.
That is.
Yeah. It's
100%.
SWAT team. If I had to get them all together, it would be a party.
That's right. We might be a little tipsy, but we're very high vibe.
Yes.
Yes. We are high vibe tipsy.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah. So we're super excited to have Kara on to talk about, I guess, like feminine intuition. I think, I like to think that we're all about all the stages of womanhood, but at the stages we are at currently, as our estrogen in reverse puberty, as our estrogen drops, I feel like you have to become more you than you ever were.
Yeah, and I think we're being called to like embrace our feminine side too. And we now finally at this age give ourselves permission to do it too.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the feminine energy is coming into itself maybe a little bit, and we need to pump it up.
We need it. We need it.
Yeah.
It's been too long. You know?
I have to say, I wasn't always great at being in my feminine energy, to be honest. Like, came from the corporate world. I climbed the corporate ladder, my last business job before. In case you guys are wondering, I'll let the cat out of the bag right away. I'm a psychic medium, but I wasn't always. I probably was. I just didn't have it activated. It was very deep in the body somewhere. But I used a lot of my masculine energy, or as people might call it, your ego, you know, that it's the side of us that helps us get shit done, right? It's like, what's the list? How do we go? Achieve, go, climb the ladder, make it happen. Like that part of us. And we need everything. We need both sides of that. But I was really into that side of me, but I was highly sensitive. So I was like, my feelings are hurt, but let's climb the ladder, you know? And so I was like this
going. Yep.
Very intense back and forth. But my last job before I started my own company, I was the chief sales officer of a company, all men on the executive team except me. And I really felt like I had to kind of play ball in that way. And I was also moving into my perimenopausal phase. And I was like, you know, like going, this is BS. I don't know if I'm into all this. And I started working on developing my feminine energy and being more in intuition and flow and ease and trusting that inner voice that whispers and tells us stuff and then we ignore it. I started learning how to tap into that. And while I learned to balance that masculine and feminine energy, my intuitive abilities awakened. And so it's been quite a crazy journey, but I'm really excited to spend some time talking to you guys and your listeners about what that means to bring a masculine and feminine balance back into us, especially at this season of our lives.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's so interesting. You mentioned, and I know we've known each other for a few years, but that's really when it was kind of awakening, right? Like this whole
It was when I started
experience.
Yep, I started working with I really got into personal growth. And in case if anybody's wondering, spiritual expansion and spiritual growth is really just personal growth on crack. So you're like, how deep am I going inward? Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
But I really started doing a lot of personal growth, which turned into spiritual expansion and a spiritual awakening. And I started working with an energy healer who lives in Oaxaca, Mexico. And she's a cool lady. And
is that what's her name, Audrey?
yeah, with Audrey. Yes, you've met her. Yeah.
I love her.
So I started working with her, and she just took me through really deep guided meditations to help me move and thank that ego side of me and allow myself to lead in the corporate world in a more feminine way. Because in my one-on-ones with people, I can tell you ladies are like this too, but I was so in my feminine. How are you? What can I do for you? How are you feeling? Is there any obstacles I can remove for you? But in the boardroom and in the leadership room, I was in my masculine because that's what I thought I needed to do to command, respect, and command the role that I was in as an executive. So it's interesting for me to then learn how to bring that more feminine flow side into every part of my life and realize that you can have both. You don't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I find that in the corporate world, you really have to almost slice yourself in half.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it does feel like that. And I've always felt like that. Like I have to change who I am in certain situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I haven't worked out in the corporate world in a while, but I remember when I did, I definitely felt that way. Definitely.
And I think part of it's because so many of the executives are either males or in their masculine energy, like I was. And so it's like it's a breeding ground for hustle and grind and blocking out your intuition. Because it's true even in this is true in life, right? Like you both are mamas, right? And I'm a mama. And so you'll get this intuition, right? You'll get this little nudge that's like, check on your kid. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And then they're like, I'm fine. And you're like, no, I know something is wrong. So I'm just going to we're going to go get an ice cream. We're going to go do something. We're going to get in the car and I'm going to allow for some white space because they're going to tell me what's going on because I can tell something's wrong.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
That's feminine flow. That's what that means. When you're like, oh, there's a little whisper there. There's a little something guiding me there. And instead of ignoring it, because my life is so dang busy, I'm going to listen to it. And that's the power. That's the magic. And it's true in business too. I mean, you'll get a whisper of like, Kristen, you might be like, don't hire that candidate. They might look really good on paper.
I play with my intuition about people, because I've been doing what I do for so long that I have to play games with myself in order to make it interesting. So,
or like a PTO mom,
it's
right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, don't sit by her. Don't ever met her. But she gives me the heebie-jeebie vibes. She's going to go deep on some stuff that I don't want to talk about. I don't know why. And then somebody else sits by her and the lady's like, yippity-yip. The whole time you're like, yes, I avoided that.
I listened. I listened.
Herself. That's right. Yeah. That's absolutely right.
I know. That is true.
It's funny that you say that too. I find that in corporate world, we value that masculine energy so much more. We performance, not performance manage, but we reward that type.
That idea of high performance instead of whole performance.
Yeah. And I'm very good at the more connecting and that intuition or being able to really talk to anyone and adapt to them, but that is not as really
it's as rewarded.
It doesn't feel it's as rewarded.
I'll break it down. I'll break it down for your listeners. So it's like this in the business world, and this is true in our regular lives too, but we call them hard skills and soft skills. You guys heard those terms before? Hard skills, right? Excel spreadsheets, coding, goals, blah, 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 the things.
Yeah.
And then soft skills, right? They're like, oh, I can sense something's off with one of my teammates. I'm going to go check on them. All of those emotional intelligence, high IQ and EQ type things, right?
Right.
I don't view them as hard or soft because what I find is some skills are hard for you and some are hard for me and they're not the same things. What's easy for me might be hard for you and what's hard for you might be easy for me. So it has nothing to do with hard or soft. It's really what I call power skills. What are your power skills? What are your superpowers? And how do you lean into those? And we as women need to lean into our feminine more. We really do. And when you think about, I'll ask you both this right now. When you think about somebody who mentored you, somebody who means a lot to you, somebody who cared well for you, somebody you really respect, if you think about give me one or two qualities about why they were such a mentor for you. Terry, you want to go first?
Yes. For me, love, you feel that love, connection, definitely, which is something that I needed growing up.
Yeah.
And also guidance for different situations in my life and,
Yeah.
things that I was going through. Um, they're the two big ones for me.
How about you, Kristen?
I think the biggest one is that like mentors really see something in me that I see in myself, like that I see so much more in me than
Yeah.
is out there in the world, and that person sees that somehow.
Almost brings it out too.
That's right.
Yeah, and tries to
Yeah.
maybe bring it out and encourages me. And is usually warm, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And if you asked 100 more people, guess what? Oh, I would say 99% of them, because I've done this a lot with people, fall in what we would call soft skills. The reasons we respect and care for and love our mentors and leaders and people that are really important to us in our lives, our best friends. They're people that bring out that more softer, tender side of us and see that side of us. And they give us that permission to vulnerably go out in the world and bravely be our authentic selves. And so it's just like a calling for all of us to lean into that, because that's actually someday when we move on from this world to the next. I don't need somebody writing on my obituary, Kara, the lady who crushed her KPIs and outpicked everybody's coverage. No, I don't give a shit. Like, I want them to be like, she cared, she loved, she nurtured me, she held space for me, she was such a kind person, she really would go above and beyond to help me. It's like those are the things we need to foster in business and in life and in our families. And we tend to just get so busy living that we forget the most important components of who we are and why we need to lean into that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we would like to say that you're going to predict the 2025 Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. You know what? I hadn't asked my guides. I did. Okay, this is a funny story. All right. So of course I'm a medium, right? So I ask my guides all sorts of things, and they communicate to me in red, yellow, and green lights, and it's a cool thing that we do. Anyhow, my high school girlfriends and I, same age as you guys, every year we go on a trip. We go somewhere fun, and we live in the Minnesota area. And it's like one year we went to Iowa to the bridges of Madison County, if you guys remember that movie.
Oh,
Okay, so we went to
yeah.
all the bridges. We recreated our senior picture poses on bridges, arms crossed against bridges, all the things. We're so dumb. Then the next year we go to a casino, get hotel rooms, and go to the Thunder Down Under strip show. So, you never know what you're going to get with us. You're going to get a little bit of this, you're going to get a little bit of that. So, of course, we're at the casino, the vodka, sodas are flowing, Tito's is happening. And then my friends, it's midnight. We go back to our rooms like 1:00. And my friends are like, will you do a reading for us? And I was like, you guys, I'm like 8 drinks in. Like, are you sure that's probably not, like, one, thank God you're not paying. That's so irresponsible of me. And two, like, what the hell? Why not? Let's do it. So, of course we do. And I'm like, Jesus, Kara, what are you doing? But it's fine. So I do. I'm like reading everybody. And I have two funny things that happen. My one friend, so they communicate to me in signs. So if you've ever gone to a medium, we're not necessarily getting full on talking in our ear. Typically what we get is like a game of charades, like a whole bunch of flashcards. And you have to put the flashcards together to like communicate in paragraph to the person you're sitting with. So they show me, for this girl, they show me a bat, and then they show me the words other team. So I, Tipsy Kara, took that to mean he's gay. And I proceed to tell my girlfriend, I was like, is your son gay? And she's like, are they saying that? I'm like, well, they're not saying gay. They're saying they're showing a bat for the other team. And she goes, this summer he's playing Legion ball for the other school. He's not playing for our school. And I was like, oh, well, they're giving me a green light. Go ahead and play baseball for the other team. And so that happened. And then she's a diehard Vikings fan. So she goes, are the Vikings going to win the Super Bowl? And I was like, no, I'm getting a no. She's like, damn it, that's bullshit. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Just don't put money on it. And then she asked me like, who is going to win? And I'm like, Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to win. So I really did predict it. And she was like, why didn't I bet the farm on the Chiefs at the casino?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I haven't asked them, but I could.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yes.
How funny is that?
That is so fun.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin your listeners if they say the other team. Because you guys are, Philly fans all the way. So I don't want to say it if it's not going to be them. You know what I mean? I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Oh, no.
Because spirit won't lie.
By the time like we like edit our stuff, like we're trying to like record a bunch.
Yeah, we'll already know.
So we'll already know.
Yeah. At that point.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's what I was going to ask you too. Like, when was your first experience of connecting with the spiritual world?
Yeah, I will say looking back at my life now, I can see times when I had connection with spirit and I didn't recognize it as that. Like, for instance, when I was in college, we were camp counselors and we were driving in Minneapolis and we were driving on the interstate. And I immediately heard an actual voice in my ear that says, get over, get over, get over. So I tell her, like, get over, get over. And I scream at my girlfriend to like move over lane. So we do. And then there was a giant car crash. Like, we probably would have died. Like, it's crazy. And
Oh my
at the
gosh.
time, like, I don't know. I couldn't explain it. I was adrenaline. I made it up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Missed it kind of.
Yeah,
like you said.
exactly. And so then as I got older, I started going to a medium, partly because our daughter, who is 10, was a twin, and we lost the twin partway through the pregnancy. So she became a solo baby. That's why she has so much personality, because she's really the personality of two children in one. Yes, she's got superpowers that way. And then I actually didn't think I could ever get pregnant on my own. And I did get pregnant. I was an SVP of a company at the time. I had 9 different department leaders reporting to me. Got through my first trimester. It was like a miracle. I was like, holy crap, we're going to have another baby. And so I told everybody, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm pregnant. I just made it through my first trimester. I'm going to need you all to step up. We got this. We can do it. And then that night I started miscarrying, had to go to the hospital, all the things.
Oh.
And I was really distraught. And my marketing leader at the time had said, there's this medium. Her name's Rebecca Rosen, and she's going to be coming to Nebraska. Maybe you should like go see her. Maybe there's a message for you in it. I was like, I don't believe in mediums. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I just thought I'd share it with you.
Yeah.
And so then I slept on it. And then in the morning, I was like, I'm just going to look. And if there's a spot, I'll just go. Like, why not? What can it hurt? So I went, and it was a life-changing experience for me to feel connected to something bigger than me, to realize there's like life after death. That's really a real thing, and so much confirmation. And so every 6 or 12 months I would go to her, and about 4 or 5 years ago, she was like, okay, Kara, I'm supposed to tell you that you can do this too, like even for other people, like as a career if you want to. And I literally, like, this lady's super famous, like Vanna White's her best friend. I mean, like, it's not somebody you would talk shit to.
Yeah. Wow,
And I
right.
literally tell her, I was like, Rebecca, that's banana pants, and I don't believe you. And I was like, did I really sassafras the medium? But yes, I guess I did. And so I did. I was like, that's crazy. You're crazy. That's banana pants is word for word what I said. But then I just did the things she said. And sure enough, like I started seeing like color. Like when I would close my eyes, I would kind of see like little prismy color, and some things started awakening in me, and I started feeling sensations in my body. And I was like, whoa, there's something going on. I can feel energy. I don't know exactly what it is, but I can feel it. And then I listened to some high hertz music, did some deep meditations. And then my grandfather started channeling through me in something called automatic writing. And it was old school cursive. And my grandpa was writing and writing and writing to me. And he comes to me in every reading I've ever done with a medium. He comes to me. So it felt super powerful. But of course I was like, I'm crazy. I'm not telling anyone. People are going to... So it took months of me connecting with my guides before I even told a soul, because I was so scared.
Who did you tell first? Who did you tell first?
Who did I tell first? I told my dad, my mom and dad. But and my dad is like my safe place, He's just always like the one who's like, you could do anything, Kara. You could still run for president if you wanted. We need a female president. Like, maybe you should consider
I love
it.
your dad.
He's a
Awesome.
hairstylist. He's like funky and cool guy.
Is it his
Did he cut
dad?
your hair? Did he
Yeah,
cut
it's
your
his
hair?
dad.
It's his dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad cut my hair. He cut 10 inches off my hair.
You
Love
probably
it.
got it from his side. Like, I bet you he's like
I think-
intuitive, your dad.
Yeah.
So yes, I do. I really do. Yeah. So that's really how it started. And my husband was not the first person I told, because he's like very pragmatic. And I'm like, oh, I got to get some bravery before I tell him. But my dad goes, wait, are you telling me that I could talk to my dad again? That you could help me do that? Is that what you're telling me? I'm like, yeah. He goes, that is so cool. And I was like, oh my God, I love you, Dad. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, what a superhero to respond in that way,
Right?
Right?
That was
Oh my
amazing.
gosh.
Yeah. Because coming from the business world and coming from the world I am in, the reception for my abilities has been quite polarizing, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have really met it with love and warmth, and other people have met it with the most unkind things you could ever think somebody would say. So
wow.
you have to just have the courage to be yourself. And I think we always have such fear inside of us to be our authentic selves because we, especially as women, we don't want to be judged. We're not sure if we can handle the criticism and one more thing on our shoulders if people don't accept us. And the
Right. True.
power of your feminine, of your full vagine comes from when
Yeah.
you embrace your vagine. You know what I mean? It's like when
Right.
you embrace your feminine and you just say, you know what, I am just going to be myself. I'm going to be all of myself. I'm all the kooky, weird, crazy, fun, awesomeness of who I am. And I don't need you to accept me for me to be whole. Now, if you do, that's wonderful. I'm going to pull up a chair and you get a seat at my table. And if you don't, then you never really were my friend anyway, because you're not accepting me for fully who I am. So by releasing you out of that powerful board of directors chair or life's influence of chairs, it opens space for someone else that can sit down that's going to fully love all of you. And so we get so scared that people are going to fall out of our lives if we show them who we really are. But if they fall out of your life, I think of it like a pie. We only have space for 100% of the pie. And if it's full, that means there isn't space for anything else to come in. And when you release what doesn't serve you and you let go of it, whether it's people, thought processes, low vibrational thinking, limiting beliefs, you release any of that, you're opening up a space in the pie for something more high vibrational and more of a match for you to come in and replace it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I'd say don't be scared about being
Right.
your full authentic self.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is such a transformational time to be able to do that. Right.
Yeah, I
Like,
think this age too. I don't know. Did you find that,
yeah.
Tara? Like going into this
Yeah.
age, you were like, wait, what do I care about all this crap about anyway?
Right. I'm like
Mhm.
finally getting there. And I'm like, why? Why did it take so long?
Yes.
I know in high school it was like huge, that feeling of acceptance and,
Yes.
not really showing your full self. But
Right.
now, like, yes, why am I not doing that?
And I think even
we all should be
like
doing that.
our bodily functions. Like I saw a reel, I guess, on Instagram and everything fed to me now has to do with like perimenopause. So
Yeah, you're in the algorithm, Kristen.
yeah, I know.
Here comes the
So-
vagina monologues.
And it was about how like when you hit puberty and you start getting your hormones, your brain starts working like right to left, and so it becomes very relational.
Oh,
And like
interesting.
because like your body is preparing to potentially have a baby every month,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And then when your hormones are on your way out, you're like, "What have I been doing my whole life?
Right.
I've been giving a shit about everybody else."
That's
I've been
right.
and all of a sudden that's why I feel like you hit this like midlife crisis a little, because you're just
Yeah.
like, who am I? Like I did my whole life. I've given a shit too much about everybody else.
That's right.
You know what? And as women, as mother, you hold everything. All the
do.
emotional load of the house, and you're
Right.
just carrying too much. And I
That's
also
right.
think we're socialized as women to do that too. So
I
I
listened
think it's
to
like
this-
a combination.
Yeah, I do. I listened to this podcast episode where this lady said for an entire, she did an experiment and wrote a book about it. Now I'm not going to remember what it was, but for an entire year, she refused to tell a lie. Not even a little white lie. Like, do you like this shirt? She would be like, no, I'm not lying. I'm not lying to myself. I'm not lying to my partner. I'm not lying to anybody. I will say nothing, or I will say it was an exercise in what is the most heart-centered way I can speak my truth. Like, I don't need to be mean about it, but I am never going to lie. It's like, do you want to go to the softball game? I don't really want to go, but I will go because I know it will mean a lot to them. But if you're asking me, do I want to go? No, I want to go watch
I think I'd rather.
the new episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Leave me alone. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Well, I hope they'll come back. We'll see.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
New York or whatever housewife you watch. Yeah.
That was a movie with Jim Carrey, wasn't it? Like where he
Yeah, that's right. The Mask, I think.
lied?
Yeah, and he couldn't lie. Yeah.
And it was great, but
It makes me realize how often we will slant stuff for ourselves and for others just to make peace, because we think that's the feminine way to be peaceful,
Right. And everybody's okay. We're making sure everybody's okay.
That's right.
And-
Yeah.
Right.
And Brene Brown talks about this a lot too, but it's like, that isn't the most kind thing to do. You might think it's a sensitive thing to do or an empathetic thing to do, but to say something that isn't true in your heart is actually not using your kindness. Your kindness is when you speak the most heart-centered truth possible. So I always ask people this, like when you're having a hard time finding your voice, and most women have their throat chakra blocked, which is where it lives in our energetic field in our throat. And so you say, well, how can you say that to the person in the most loving way possible? Because if you don't speak your truth, you are burying yourself. And it's just another layer on top of yourself of giving your power away, like you talked about, Kristen. It's like the more that you don't speak your truth in the world, your vulnerable, honest, true, heart-centered truth, the more that you're falling further away from your soul-aligned self, and the more that you're burying your true, authentic voice.
Right. Yes. And I think, recently we've talked at Kara, a lot about Olivia boundaries. And I felt like I was constantly giving my power away. And I'm sure I do it in so many situations just in general during the day. And then constantly doing it to my child, I hit a wall,
Right. And it's okay. Like, I think we have to learn it's okay to be a little selfish with our own needs and activities that we want to do too. Like, I don't like that word, but
it's self-love. To prioritize yourself is self-love.
Right. Right.
And we don't know how to do that, because honestly, this is what I tell people, and I teach this in my courses and things that I teach too, but it's like, who's mothering you? Who is mothering you? You are mothering the world, the PTO, the snacks at school, the, drive you to soccer practice, yes, y'all make 5 dinners for 5 different family members because none of you can freaking agree on what we're going to have for dinner. You know what I mean? It's just like, we are mothering everyone. We're mothering at work. We're nurturing people. We're caring for people. We're looking out for everybody's needs. And so every now and again, you just need to say, I need to mother myself. Yeah. I'm going to mother myself. What would my mother say to me right now? And what would my mother do for me? The most beautiful, loving, kind mother ever. If you don't have one of those, imagine what one would be like. And mother yourself every now and again,
Yeah.
I like that, because I'm like, well, I was just telling Kristen, I'm like, I'm still making my 15-year-old's lunch. Like, what am I doing? Like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, okay.
Exactly. And then when they say, I didn't like that, then you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Honey, okay, I'll put something different in tomorrow.
Okay, we'll move on from that. I'm like, sometimes I have an aha moment. I'm like, what am I fucking doing? Like, okay, I guess I'll get you lunch,
You're like, I will go to Costco and get you 400 bags of Smart Pop popcorn, but you could put it in your own damn sack. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's insane.
For yourself.
Yeah. Right. And I'm like, nobody's making my lunch.
Yeah.
I know, but right?
It's not that I don't like doing it, though, because it's like, how you said, it's my soft side,
Yeah, right.
It's
your nurturing her.
My soft skill. And I'm like, I like to do it. And then I fear that she, that's, then your mind starts going, well, what if she doesn't eat then? So I'm making it because I'm making sure that she eats, and, it's the crazy thoughts.
Well, we're never going to not do that, right? Like, we're all mamas. Many of the podcast people you listen to probably are too. It's in our nature to do it. It's just a reminder to mother yourself sometimes too,
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I tend to think women of our age think a good way to mother myself is like, I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to go get a massage. I'm going to go take a hot bath. I'm going to like escapism things, and honestly, the most wonderful thing you can do for yourself is to have time for things that bring you joy. So go do the things that relieve stress. Yes. Wonderful. Go do that. But it isn't going to ignite a spark in you. It doesn't work like that. It's not like you go get a massage and you're like, oh my God, I'm good for the whole year. It's like 4 days later, you're like, can I go back? Oh my God, I need another one. I'm dying. My boss is an ass wipe and I need another massage. I'm not going to make it. Right. So we have to do things that bring out our sacral chakra. It's where our creative center lives. It's where innovation lives. It's where the spark of joy and fun and play lives. And you have to do that. Like, if you were a dancer in high school, then take a freaking dance class. Like, if you love painting, then paint. If you love nature, then schedule walks outside in nature. Like, if you're like, do things that actually light you up and enhance your life versus try to escape your life. And then go take a salt bath afterwards. I mean, by all means. I'm not going to tell you not to do that.
Not saying don't get a massage or like, but
that's right. Yeah. But I think people tend to forget that actually you're going to like, I can't put another thing on my plate. I can't. My schedule is too full. But what you will find is when you prioritize yourself and you put something in your schedule that lights you up and makes you feel like a 10-year-old kid again, all the other things will happen. They will fall into place. Other people will pick up the steps. Your daughter will still eat lunch. It just might be Cheetos and a yogurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the
Still-
life will go on, and you'll realize, like, okay, you know what? Like, I spent more time doom scrolling and trying to escape my life for 2 hours of that day that I could have been using that time to do something meaningful that expands my life, not contracts my life.
Yeah. I love that. You always
Yeah, I
told
love
me in
that
my
too.
readings, you need to do things that bring you more things that bring you joy, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And not just like, a bottle of wine with your neighbor, which is also great, but that falls in the spa category, Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I get it. All right.
Yeah. I
I'm
was
going to
just
start
thinking that.
separating my well-being toolkit. I'll start separating it. I even think
Yeah.
that boundaries, like my no tattoo,
Yeah. Yeah, for
and
sure.
my no button.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are that's self-care for me,
100% it is.
Mhm.
Because
And,
how does it feel in your body practicing saying no? Like when you're
Mhm.
like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it feels good actually. Like it
Oh,
feels
really?
like
I was the
powerful.
opposite. When I said it, I was like really proud of myself. And then I'd be like, oh my God, are they mad at me? Oh shit. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Like
saying
I
that,
would
though,
have
but-
I would have all the second guessing when I was, and I still do, but I'm just way more powerful now because I have a lot of practice speaking my truth.
Yeah. Mhm.
But it takes practice. So if your listeners are like, okay, I'm going to try it, I'm going to do it, and then they're like, oh my God, my husband stared at me and I freaked out, and then I was like, I'm sorry, honey. What do we? Okay, yes, put a play date on the schedule. Yes, let's do it. Like you start freaking out and you start
Right.
like compromising. So it's like it's a skill, right? Learning to stand
Yeah,
up for
it's
yourself,
true.
learning to hold space for yourself. It's a skill just like anything else. So if it feels like a little foreign in your body while you're doing it, you're like, oh, that was a pit in my stomach. I was so scared to do that, but I did it anyway. Just trust that as you act more in alignment with your truth and your authenticity, it will get easier. But
Okay.
you are just a power girl. You're like, no, it felt great. No.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. Well, that's not true. It feels good initially, but
Yeah,
you
like to
said,
stand up for
because
yourself.
Right.
so, for instance, my uncle just passed away yesterday, and so my cousin had texted us in the morning. He was 90. He lived, he lived how he
Sure.
wanted to. He at the
Yeah.
track. He drank vodka. He never got married. He was just anyway. So he was in hospice. It was actually a good thing, right? But my cousin texted, and she was like, "Yeah, he's going to pass away today or tomorrow." And then I found out. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not taking Olivia to that. She already thinks I'm going to die every day anyway.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's the last thing I know I want to take to her too." So I said,
Yeah.
I'll try and clear my schedule tomorrow morning and get there. So he ended up. So then my cousin's like, okay, no. And my other 3 cousins were there. So then I started feeling guilty.
Yeah.
And
me
I
too.
was
they
like
were there. Yeah.
calling people. I'm like, please, somebody make me feel better. Now I feel like, I'm like, they're his, those cousins, they're his like great nephews. I'm like, I'm his like first niece. Like I should be there. Like,
Yeah.
and my mom was like, stop. No, like you could go tomorrow. Everybody doesn't have to go at the same time. But like,
Yeah.
it took me a little while to like, be like,
Yeah.
this
Like
is
that
how
it was
like I am
okay
a
then.
single
Yeah.
parent. I can't just leave my kid here. You know what I mean?
Yes. And Kristen,
but-
you know this, but from the medium side of me,
Mhm.
people don't die. They just change forms. That's it.
Right.
We let
Yeah.
go of the physical body, and because we are a soul having a human experience. So our soul chooses the body, chooses the friends, chooses the place we live, chooses all those things. So it's not like you'll never be in his energy again. It's just going to be in a different form. It's just different. It's not lost.
Yeah.
I just think
His will be in the form of Tito's.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe that's why I told my Tito story earlier.
that is-
Yeah, the
he's
Tito's at the
before
casino.
Tito's.
What's your uncle's name?
Carmen.
Carmen. You're welcome, Carmen. Cheers to you, man.
Get out.
but going back to what you were saying though, Kristen, about like feeling that guilt or I should be there. I do the
Mhm.
same thing, and I don't want to do that anymore. But it's
I know.
like it sucks because I do that too. I'm like, I should go. I should really go. I don't feel like going, but I should go. And something
Absolutely.
voices, and I'm telling you what
Yeah.
to do. But
Yeah. If that happens, like I know these sound like simple little techniques, but breathe, take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth and close your eyes and say, I give myself permission to put myself first. I give myself permission to put myself first.
I love
Putting
that.
myself first
Write
is the
that
most
down.
loving thing I
Yeah.
can do.
Yes.
Putting myself first is the most loving thing I can do. When I am full of love, I can expand and give it to others, right? So you say these things to yourself while you're breathing and closing your eyes and regulating your nervous system. Because what's happening is your subconscious and your physical body are out of alignment with each other. What your heart desires and what's actually happening feel out of balance. So it's just a matter of regulating your nervous system, bringing it back into a calm state, and then allowing your true desires to come through and giving yourself permission to do that. Because if you really wanted to go, you would have gone, right? You would have
Right.
said, oh, I don't want to
Yeah.
go. I'm going to get somebody. I'm going to do it, whatever. And so it was like, no, it didn't feel in alignment for you. And so we know that that's true because we got the cues that told us that. But then we allow ourselves to feel guilty for like 5 days for that.
Right.
And that just
Yeah.
doesn't do us any good.
Right.
Don't you
Like-
think that so much of your life is like when you take a step back and you think about how much your life is like managing other people's emotions and giving too
Yeah.
much of a shit about what
100%.
everyone. Yeah. And I
100%.
love Mel Robbins. Did you see her new book? I got
Yeah,
it
let
on.
them.
Let them be bad. Let them, you know what I mean? Like you can't
Yeah.
control this. Like all you can control is and I just like that little 2 words too. Yeah. Did you read it?
No,
I
but
get
it's
the-
on my hot list here. It's on my
I
hot
get
list
it
to
from
read. Yeah.
Audible. I like books like that. I like prefer
have 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to have them and to read it. If I want to highlight things and like
Yeah.
go back to them, you know. So I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to buy it. I'm gonna have to buy
When
it
I
twice.
came out of, yeah, I know. When I came out of the spiritual closet and I told people, there was this whole group of, I would call them our couples friends, where I was really brought into this group of females because they were like through my husband's work, you know, and then they invited me in. But we'd been friends for 15 years, like a long time. And I was super nervous to tell this group of people because they're a little judgy. They're not that spiritual. I was like, this is going to not go well. And I was really scared. It took me months of courage to finally tell them. And I did. And I was met with the exact resistance I thought I was going to be met with, you know, like really unkind things, really judgmental things. And at the time, my feelings were just hurt, right? You're like, oh my God, my feelings are so hurt. But what I didn't understand was they just didn't have the capacity to accept me for who I was, or some way in which I was shining my light and showing up in the world reflected and triggered something in them that they did not like. So again, not my fault, right?
Right.
There's nothing I did wrong by just being my authentic self. And I was like, what if I lose this whole group of friends and yada, yada, yada? Well, I did pretty much lose that entire group of friends, but it has been replaced by Kristen, by, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
many
right.
so many wonderful people who just love me for who I am. And I wouldn't have had the capacity to have space for them, you know?
Yes.
And so it's like, it's okay. It's okay to honor who we are. And sometimes it is going to be a bumpy road. Sometimes not everyone is going to like the choices that we make, especially as we stand in our power, because the world isn't used
Right.
to women standing in their power.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we can do it without being jerks, you know, we can do it in the most heart-centered way. But
Yeah.
we have to listen. We have to listen to ourselves and our needs and our wants and our desires, because we're so out of practice doing it that when we do it, it feels uncomfortable.
I was just going to say, it feels uncomfortable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just like something you
Absolutely.
got to get used to. It's like a skill, you know?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. And when you
Yeah.
learn how to take care of yourself, love yourself, prioritize yourself, you learn how to balance it all. You're like, oh, okay, like I got this. Like now that I feel really good, I have the energy to like show up well, because our hormones are also working havoc on us. So energy is like the thing I care about more than anything. It's not time. It's like, it's my 3D human energy. I'm like, am I exhausted today, or do I have the energy to like do my best work today? And I care more about that than anything. And so the last thing I'm going to do is invite somebody to hang out with me that sucks the life out of me. I'm like, I don't have the energy for you.
Yeah.
What
yeah,
energy I
right?
do have in my menopausal phase is not going to be depleted by you. No.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Are all those women, or were they the ones that hang out at like the country club pool?
She has her own pool.
Because I went with Stephanie to like one of the country club
yeah.
pools when I was
Oh
there. and I
yeah,
was
where you're like, oh,
these chicks were like, I'm like, they thought they were like the cat's pajamas. I'm like,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
you don't even have an
We got a
ocean
lot of-
around you.
we got a lot of big fish in a little pond here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's no
there-
ocean around here.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
There's women like that around me too, and
Yeah,
they go
there's
to
women
a
everywhere.
certain place, and they, you know, it's supposed to be a gym, but it's not, and it's
Yeah.
I have no time. I quit there.
You're like, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like if something isn't a vibe for you, just remove yourself from it, because even things like letting that energy affect you, like, oh my God, what is that lady wearing? Jesus, lady, like cover your nips and whatever, like all of that kind of energy depletes you too, right? Because you're in a very like low vibrational judgy place, instead of being like, this doesn't feel like the place that I want body positivity to be, so isn't my vibe, this isn't my place. But if this like lights you up and you love it, get down with your bad self. It's just a vibrational mismatch for me. You're not a vibrational match for me.
Right.
Yes,
I
that's
love
exactly
it.
how
Like,
it was.
Abraham Hicks, I like when she describes like the universe and diversity. It's
Yeah.
like going to a buffet and saying like, I don't like cucumbers. Take them off the buffet. Like, you just have to pick what you like.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
100%.
But that doesn't mean the rest of it shouldn't be there for
That's
someone
right.
else.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
That too, like when you meet people, you're like, oh my God, I freaking loved her. And then Tara, you might be like, really? I thought she was like weird. I don't know. And you meet the same person. You all met the same person. And one person loves him. The other is like, nah, not my person. Or a book. I loved that book. And you're like, oh no. Like I was just talking to a friend. She's like, I just can't do Mel Robbins. It's just not my vibe. And I was like, oh, okay.
I
Like,
love Belle.
Yeah.
I love her too. I think she's fantastic. Or people will say that. It's like you're just, and it's like, yeah, well, that's okay, because you're the wrong part of the buffet. You need to get to the mashed potato section. You're in the salad section.
Yeah, you're not there yet. That's okay.
That's right.
You're just not. You're not further along.
That's
right. It's funny because that scenario happened to Jeff and I the other night. Of course, I had Tito's, I was drinking and he was too, but I met this one woman and I just felt like I felt like she was a little standoffish, And so I was talking to Jeff about it. He's like, I didn't get that vibe at all. And so it was just like part of that scenario. Like we met this person same night and, we just felt different. I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Well,
fine.
the reason that is, Sarah, is because we all have, we all have an energetic field. And what it is it's a bubble of energy that greets you before you enter the room. And so that's why we can sense things, and we all give out, it's like radio waves. If you remember, like tuning in the radio, right? And you're like 1200 AM or you know what I mean? So we all give out a vibrational pattern. And when you're at a vibrational pattern of this and you're meeting somebody that's like this, they're out of sync. It's like a note in your ear that screeches that you can't stand. And it's because your energetic fields are vibrating. Actually, science measures this. They're vibrating at a different pattern. That's actually what's happening. That's why you're so drawn to like your partner and somebody else is like, not my vibe. And you're like, well, get off them because they're mine, like, I'll pounce on you if you touch my man. No, but it's like, because you are in a vibrational sync that you're really a match for each other. And so I always say your energy introduces you long before you open your mouth. And so what energy and the thoughts that you have, the feelings that you have, the vibrations that are carrying through, they come from your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So if you want your energy to come into a room and greet people with love and joy and peace and confidence and creativity, then you have to fill your internal self with those things. So what you fill up is what energetically gets projected out into the world.
Your bucket.
That's right. That's look
I
at
love
you.
it.
Yeah.
That was
I
great.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we, what can you leave us with? Like, for our listeners to embrace the intuitive power.
That's right. That's right. I think it's in your feminine when you're listening to your intuition. And it's on my website. I'll link it to you guys in your show notes. But I have a tool. It's called the Talk to Your Guides Activation Guide. And this activation guide is the exact formula I used from being spiritually curious to spiritually confident. So it really does allow you to go, okay, how do I make this connection to my intuition? What is my primary intuitive listening language? So I might just be using the wrong language or the wrong tools to get my intuition. I might be a feeler. I might see my signs. I might know my signs. I might hear my signs. And here I am thinking, since I don't see them, I don't have them. Nope, that might not be true. You got to just learn what your primary intuitive listening language is. So this guide really, it's got meditations, it's got information to help you learn that, what your language is. And it's really there as a tool to help you learn how to create a connection with the unseen and how to use it as your superpower. Because when you can learn to tap into this inner knowing and this intuition, it will serve as a guide for so many things. You'll get that little nudge of confidence that you're on the right path and that you're moving in the right direction. Because that's really what we all want to know. It's like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right.
Is this
It's
my
like a
right
little
path in
guidance.
life?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the tools that are in there, I use all the time. Like, if I'm going to go to a doctor, I'm like, is it this one or that one? Tell me. You know, like I want what's for my highest and best good all the time. Put me on the highest frequency timeline possible, you know?
Right,
So
right.
I'm all about like, give me the easy road. I don't want to learn lessons the hard way. What's the easiest way to learn
Right.
this? Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Can we like learn lessons the easy way?
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to ask. You have to say, you have to ask your team and spirit, show me the highest timeline available to me so that this can be the easiest and simplest way to learn this lesson. Because that's all it is. We're all in Earth School. We're all here just learning lessons, and we will keep learning the lesson until it will keep showing up until we learn it. Right? Like if you have a girlfriend that keeps dating the same type of loser profile guy over and over and over and over again, you're like, oh my God, stop dating guys at the sports bar. It's the same guy over and over again, just a different name, slightly different family, but it's the same narcissistic jerk, whatever profile, right?
Right.
Well, you will keep dating the same person until you believe you're worthy of a different type of person. And then, like, remember that energy greets you before you enter the room? Then your vibration will sing, I want a confident, hot, you know, good looking man who treats me right, cares about me. Like that's the vibration that you'll put out into the earth, out into the world when you're looking for a mate or whatever it might be. So it's really just about understanding how you can harness your own intuitive power and how it can be a superpower for you to make sure you're living an aligned life and on the easy road instead of the hard one.
I would prefer that. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And follow me on Instagram. That's where I give tons of free links to things and lots of fun content. And you can always DM me. Yeah.
I have a question about your Instagram.
Yeah.
Were you the one doing the sound bowls the other day?
My sound bowls.
You have all those sound bowls?
Yeah,
oh
do you
my
see 'em?
God. I didn't know you had all those.
I got them for my Christmas gift.
Oh my gosh.
And
love them.
after I do readings, a medium had told me that it works really well for her to clear energy after a reading. Otherwise, all of your loved ones just stick around and you're like, oh my God, you're killing me. You got to go away.
You know?
And so I play the sound bowls afterwards and I just do them for myself. But yeah.
Maybe if I start with sound bowls, Olivia will go away a little bit.
No, your tattoo. Your no tattoo.
No, and Olivia, she'll like it. She'll be like, Mom, I love this.
She'll start pounding away at them. She's like, Mom, let's take a class together.
Right.
Well, thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been really fun.
Awesome. I know. So fun. Thank you so much.
Yes,
and I'll put your website, your notes, everything, we'll include that.
We'll include all that. Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks, ladies.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.